What's good, everybody? We got another episode of Ask FP on camera again. So, like I said, this is the way we're going to do it. So let's go right into this first question, and it's coming from my man, Matt Price. He's asking, does the NBA really need to change the hacker whoever rule, or do big men simply need to man up and learn how to make free throws? I would say that is the latter, Matt. They need to learn how to make free throws. Don't make a rule that pretty much encourages you not to develop yourself in one portion of the fundamentals of the game. People should be, they call free throws for a reason. You're given an opportunity to make a free shot because of a foul or because of an infraction. This is what it's about. I mean, you don't allow people to underachieve. Make free throws, man. You know, Rollins for Champion 15 says, what are your top 5 NBA draft busts of all time in order from best to worst? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. He says, by the way, great stuff, man. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that. For me personally, the 5 that jump to my mind immediately is Lynn Elmore, Greg Oden, Sam Bowie, Darko Milicic, and Nikola Skidishvili. Those guys really jump out to me as, they didn't work out. So, you know, it is what it is. Rollins for Champion 15 also says, does Dwane Wade, that's not even how you spell it, Dwane. Does Dwane Casey deserve to be fired? And who do you see staying or leaving on that Raptors team? I don't believe Dwane Casey deserves to be fired. I think the Raptors had a really good, strong regular season. They definitely flopped in the postseason, but you gotta give this team a little bit of chance to grow up a little bit. I think one more disappointing playoff performance, I think at that point then you start to worry, or if they get off to a poor start in the regular season next year. But that's it. They definitely need to add a power forward that can score with his back to the basket. I think that's imperative. Chicago sports fan says, who is the better prospect, Addison Russell or Chris Bryant? Both are great prospects, different types of players, but I would say overall I'd still take Chris Bryant because of the power and the run production. I think Addison Russell is going to be a really solid player overall. He reminds me a little bit of a Roberto Alomar type player, even though I know his more natural position is shortstop. But I take Chris Bryant because, I mean, this guy looks really special as an offensive player. Chicago sports fan also says, who is the most popular sports player of all time? I'm assuming you mean just like athlete, period. So automatically you think about Muhammad Ali, Tiger Woods, even right now LeBron James, David Beckham, Lionel Messi, that type of thing. But Mike Tyson, I would probably have to say right now it's Michael Jordan. Still has, obviously he's not an active athlete, but overall, you can go anywhere in the world, just about a small village in a third world country, and they pretty much know who Michael Jordan is. So I would say Mike. Chicago sports fan also says, do you think that the hit and run will affect John Jones's career? It definitely will. Already has. You obviously asked this question 6 days ago, so everything hadn't really gone down yet. But John has some real issues. I don't know how much of them are due to what's going on in what the nature of the sport, which kind of, as much as I like combat sports, I was saying this on Twitter a little bit earlier today. It starts to trouble me a little bit if I see people doing things that I think are a product of the damage that they take in the sport. So that kind of worries me a little bit. Chicago sports fan also says, do you think with the Hawks play, do you think that the Hawks will, basically he's saying, do you think the Hawks have a free ticket to the conference finals because they have the Wizards? Well, obviously the Wizards won game 1, but I picked the Wizards to win this series. I just don't see the Hawks, their style of game is a regular season winning style of a game. In the playoffs, when things slow down and you have to have people and superstars you can depend on, I just don't think they have that. So the Wizards are going to the Eastern Conference Finals if you ask me. Chicago sports fan says, when will you do the fantasy draft with the Ultimate Legends roster in NBA 2K15? I'm not sure yet, man. I'm working through this draft class right now. MLB came out, so I haven't started my series yet, and I have a really cool plan for that. I'm going to share that with you guys at the end of this video, so hopefully you guys stick with me. But the Ultimate Legends fantasy draft is something I'm definitely still going to do and plan to do before NBA 2K16 comes out, so that's that. Chicago sports fan again says, when will you doing the Ultimate Legends roster in MLB The Show? To quote Ronaldo Ray from Friday, nope. And the reason why is because MLB rosters take so much more time. And I'm really contemplating whether or not I'm even going to do an NBA 2K16 Ultimate Legends roster, unless they introduce a feature that allows you to drag over rosters from one version to the next. I personally don't think that you should have to redo your rosters and your whole association, My Career Saves, every year. The show has already opened the door with this feature. Let everybody jump on board. Gunnar Matthews says, do you think that Floyd Mayweather is a better boxer than Muhammad Ali? I think it's debatable. It's debatable. A lot of people consider it like sacrilege to say that you're better than Muhammad Ali, you're better than Michael Jordan, or you're better than, Walter Payton or Joe Montana. But one thing I say about greatness, in order to be truly great, you have to have the audacity to believe that you're better than everybody else. Muhammad Ali called himself the greatest, which meant that he was saying he was better than Joe Louis. He was saying he was better than Sugar Ray Robinson. At that time, it seemed crazy for him to say such a thing. So I don't think everybody should jump on Floyd's back as bad as they did from him making that type of statement. Ryan also says, if you could build a baseball team, would you go heavy on pitching or hitting, or just find a balance? To me, it always has to start with pitching. Always does. To me, pitching is the most important aspect of a baseball team. Second, is clutch hitting. If you can pitch and you basically can get big hits, come up with 2-out RBIs, able to keep innings alive, that's how you win baseball games. Ryan also says, who's the better LA team, the Angels or the Dodgers? I would have to say the Dodgers at this point. Angels, things have not started off exactly the way they wanted to. Albert Pujols is struggling. They had to give up on Josh Hamilton, ship him back to Texas. Things are not exactly going great for them. But the Dodgers are probably underachieving a little bit too, but they have Yasiel Puig out. I think at the end of the day, the Dodgers right the ship. I don't know about the Angels. I'm not sure. Simon Torvey Sunland says, is there any young American footballers who you think can make it in the bigger leagues one day? Well, there's a couple guys that I saw, read about that played in the U7 on the U17 team, and there's also a guy that plays in MLS, I believe, right now. I think he plays for San Jose. I might be wrong about that. For right now, his name is escaping me. But those guys, as far as the young American footballers who are not already playing for the English Premier League or one of the major leagues, those guys jump out to me. I wish I could remember their names right now. Sorry. Simon Torvey Sunland also says, who do you think is the biggest talent in football today? Personally, he'd go with Yuri Tielemans. I think that's how you spell it. Say his name. I can't really profess to. Like, the thing about world football is I respect it, and I'll be honest, I pay attention to some of the major portions of competition, like Champions League and the Premier League finals, and then if you got to World Cup and things like that, and the Olympics for sure. But I wouldn't really be a person that can really give a strong opinion on evaluation talent. The first thing that come to my mind is Gareth Bale and Robin Van Persie and Messi and Ronaldo. So that may not actually encompass enough. Now, Emerson George says, do you think by the time John Jones finishes his career, he'll be remembered as the best UFC fighter of all time? He's in the conversation already, but what happens with him after he, is able to recover from his issues is really going to determine how he closes out his legacy. He could ultimately go down as a guy who people say, what if he had not had the issues he had? So hopefully he gets himself together. All we can do is pray for him, basically. Jovan Radovanovic says, do you think that Boban Marjanovic can play in the NBA? And if so, what team needs him the most? I think he can play for just about any team. He's 7'3", 260 pounds, 26 years old, not extremely athletic or mobile, but he's very productive, double-double. I believe the last 2 seasons. The guy, you got a big body like that. Unless you are an absolute stiff, you have a place in the NBA, even if it's just as a backup center. Now, that might be his issue. He may not want to come to the NBA to be a backup center because, the role he's getting to play overseas now. So we'll see what happens, but I do believe that he's an NBA player if he wants to be. So We'll see if he gets an opportunity to do that. Sixbird says, how are you feeling about Mr. White? Obviously, he's talking about Kevin White. He said he personally feels that it was a terrible pick. Terrible pick, I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a terrible pick. I did think that the Bears should have taken Vic Beasley. A lot of people think he's a one-dimensional pass rusher. He's just a third down specialist like Bruce Irvin or something. But I think he's a little more than that. I think Vic Beasley is truly a beast. And I would have liked to see them take him. But all that said, Kevin White has collegiate production, as well as he's a freak of nature athletically. As a big receiver, I can't really say it's a terrible pick. I think the Bears had a good draft overall. So Jovan is back. He says, can we, meaning the Bulls, beat the Cavs in 7 or maybe 6? My official prediction was 6 games for the Bulls. I felt that the Bulls would win. They backed that up in game 1. And I just think that if the Bulls' size and the fact that they have more people besides Derrick Rose to depend on to get tough buckets. We saw it last night with Jimmy Butler getting tough baskets with LeBron on him, with other guys on him. Derrick Rose does not have to go for 35 points, 32 points, 28 points in order for this team to win. I mean, at different points of the game, Rose, Gasol, or Butler carried the Bulls' offense, and that's the key. 89 Simpson said, who's the best NBA athlete in the point guard position? Is it Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, or Stephen Curry? All of those guys are great players, but if we're just talking about pure athlete, which is just run, jump, speed, quickness, strength, leaping ability, you'd have to say it's Russell Westbrook. Derrick Rose, I think, is kind of still in that category, but I don't think he still has all of the explosion. He's still super fast, but I don't think he still has all of the explosion. What's my thoughts on Mayweather versus Pacquiao? 89 Simpson asked. I thought it was a masterful performance by Floyd Mayweather. I respect Manny Pacquiao, but I don't like the excuses about the injuries. I don't like that at all. If you were injured, you were injured. Floyd's hands were bothering him pretty much in the training camp of every fight. I just thought Mayweather proved himself to be the better boxer, to be the better fighter. He's the fighter of the era. It's just that simple. There's nothing else really to be said. A lot of people didn't like it, said it was boring, but that just shows that most of those people are casual boxing fans. They don't understand or appreciate the art of hitting and not being hit, and that's what boxing is about. Thompson Trey says, do you think that Amir Khan or Keith Thurman could pose a threat to Mayweather? Absolutely, because Amir Khan's speed is amazing. His hand speed is ridiculous. He has some of the maybe the only guy in boxing who has faster hands than Amir Khan is Gary Russell. Vasil Lomachenko's in the neighborhood, but those guys have ridiculously fast hands. And Thurman's punching power and length would definitely be a problem. I'm not saying they would beat him. I'm just saying it's a tougher fight. Thompson Trey also says, could Roy Jones Jr. in his prime beat Mayweather? Obviously, we're talking about different weights. I don't think Roy ever fought lower than 154, and Mayweather's only been as high as 154, but his best weight is 147. So, stylistically, Roy creates an issue because of his speed, his athleticism, and his power, and his, when he was right, very tough fighter to hit. So it's interesting. I would probably lean and say maybe Roy does win, actually. 89 Simpson says, what's your favorite team and legend to play with on your Ultimate Legends team? Well, that's a few of them. I like playing with the Sacramento team, Peja Stojakovic, Chris Webber, Jerry Lucas, Nate Archibald. It's pretty cool. I also like playing with the Bulls, obviously. I like playing with the Pacers because of Reggie Miller, Detroit because of Grant Hill, Orlando because of Young Shaq and T-Mac. So there's a few teams. If anybody's not up on the Ultimate Legends roster, if you got a PS4, search my my PSIN ID. It is Franchise Play 99. You can check that out. The Great Patriot says, you got DX, Evolution, the Road Warriors, or Heart Foundation, and if one stable had to be removed from the WWE, who would it be? For me, it would be Evolution, and because I think that each person in Evolution singularly stands up by themselves. They don't need Evolution. Ric Flair doesn't need Evolution. Randy Orton doesn't need Evolution. Triple H don't need Evolution, and neither does Batista, really. So the other factions kind of made the people. This faction is made by the people who are in it, if that makes any sense. So the Great Patriot says, in the beginning of the year, my finals prediction was the Wizards versus the Mavs. You think the Wiz can make it to the finals? No, I don't. I don't think they can make the finals. I do think they beat Atlanta, but I don't think they would beat Cleveland or Chicago in a 7-game series. It's just my opinion. I don't think the Wizards are quite ready to win just yet. I know it might seem like it's a short time period if you're going to get Paul Pierce. If Paul Pierce is going to be a part of it, but maybe he's not. So no, I don't think they can go to the finals. Nightwing says Stephen Curry wins the MVP because you see Stephen Curry is the only one on the NBA 2K16 cover. No, only reason why is because we already seen the preview cover that shows that Stephen Curry, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. I mean, if I hadn't seen that, yeah, I could see Stephen. Yeah, definitely. He's a perfect guy to be on the cover. He's a good guy. He actually plays the game. He's probably one of the most popular guys right now in the NBA. Yeah, I can definitely see him there. Tyler Knoll says, who do you think would be on the cover of Madden NFL 16? I know they're down to the final 4 to cover vote. It's been a real low-key cover vote this year. It's like, maybe it's time to figure out another way to do the cover or something. I'm not sure because it doesn't seem as it's getting as much love as it has in the past. But I think that Odell Beckham Jr. is probably going to be the guy. I mean, he's like, if you looked up like who's the coolest guy in the NFL right now, like the guy with the most cool points, it's definitely Odell Beckham Jr. So I would think that it's probably going to be him. Ms. Hurricane's camera says, do you think that if Pacquiao was not injured during the Mayweather fight, he would have had to punch more? Perhaps, maybe. But what I saw a lot of in that fight actually didn't have as much to do with somebody's arm being injured. It was more of Mayweather mastering the distance. His arm being injured, I don't know that would have affected the fact that he couldn't get away from Mayweather's jab. And that's a part of Mayweather's fight he usually doesn't employ. I think I got these numbers right. Against Madden in his first fight, Mayweather threw 142 jabs. Against Pacquiao, he threw 267. He gave him a new wrinkle he wasn't ready for. I think that was more of the problem than whatever injury he may or may not have had. So, that's just me. The Great Patriot says, which of the 3 is better, Goldberg, Lesnar, or Batista? And I'm talking all around, wrestling, Mike, etc. And he got Goldberg. I would have to agree, all things considered. I like Lesnar in the ring, even though he's a little bit destructive. But obviously on the mic, he lacks. Batista's the best on the mic of all of them, but in the ring, he's the worst. I'd say Goldberg's the most balanced overall. Conrad Cushman says, do you see the Buffalo Bills finally making the playoffs? I really enjoy your content, sir. Have a good day. You too, sir. I appreciate that. I don't see the Buffalo Bills making the playoffs this year at all. I think they had one of the worst drafts of every team in the NFL. I still think they're unsettled at quarterback. I like the defense, but no, not yet. Not yet. I still think the quarterback is the biggest problem, and they got to get a handle on that before anything else can happen. XGW WWE 2K16 says, what do you expect from WWE 2K16 this year, and do you think the WWE games will be at E3? I think there'll probably be some presence at E3. What I expect from the game mostly this year is to expand upon the My Career, to bring back some of those matches and match types and options that they took away. That's what I mostly expect. We'll see. I don't think you're going to see very much improvement graphically because the game looked great already. But yeah, that's what I expect. So let's just talk about something really quick though. In terms of Ask FP, I'm shutting down Ask FP on Monday nights going forward so that I can go ahead and get those questions in and get you guys a video on time. So that's my plan moving forward. So anybody that didn't see that before when I tweeted out, that's what I'm doing. Also, I'm doing something different with MLB The Show. I'm actually going to stop breaking the curse. Now, don't cry because I got something that's just as good, if not better. Just stay tuned. I'm going to bring it to you. Appreciate you watching. God bless. Peace!